The call came at 7:43 a.m. I remember the exact time because I was halfway through reviewing case file number 2847, a credit card fraud ring operating across 3 states. My coffee was still hot. My office was quiet. Just another Tuesday morning. Until my personal phone started ringing. Unknown number. I almost sent it to voicemail. That single decision would have cost me everything I'd spent 6 years building. The voice on the other end was professional. Mechanical. The kind of tone you hear 100 times in my line of work. This is Rachel from First National Bank. I'm calling regarding your personal loan application for $89,750. We need to verify some employment information before final approval. My fingers froze on my keyboard. I hadn't applied for any loan. Let me tell you who I am. My name is Sarah Mitchell. For the past 6 years, I've worked as a federal banking investigator for the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the OCC. Most people have never heard of us. That's exactly how we like it. My job is simple, really. I hunt financial criminals. Identity thieves who think they're clever. Loan fraudsters who believe they've found a loophole. People who assume the system is too big, too slow, too stupid to catch them. I prove them wrong. Every single time. I've closed 43 cases in my career. 43 people who thought they could steal, forge, and manipulate their way through federal banking systems. Every single one of them is either in prison or has a criminal record that follows them for life. The irony of that phone call wasn't lost on me. Someone had just tried to commit identity theft against a federal investigator who specializes in identity theft. I put Rachel on hold. My hands moved on autopilot. Muscle memory from 1,000 investigations. I pulled up the federal credit monitoring system, the one civilians don't have access to. The one that shows every inquiry, every application, every digital fingerprint left on a credit report. There it was. A loan inquiry. Filed 9 days ago. Personal loan. $89,750. Everything was correct. My social security number. My home address. My employer. Even my salary information accurate down to the dollar. The application was perfect. Professional. Careful. Except for one small problem. I never signed it. I pulled up the full application file. My clearance level gave me access to things most people never see. Back-end data. Server logs. Digital trails. The application was submitted electronically. From an IP address in Westbrook, Connecticut. My parents' neighborhood. I felt something cold settle in my stomach as I cross-referenced the exact address. 847, Maple Drive. I knew that house. I'd been there for Christmas dinner 3 months ago. My sister Jessica's house. I sat there, staring at my screen, while Rachel's voice came back through the phone asking if I was still there. Jessica. My older sister by 3 years. The one who'd always gotten everything she wanted. The golden child. The favorite daughter. The one who could do no wrong in my parents' eyes. She'd stolen my identity. Not some random criminal from another state. Not a sophisticated fraud ring. I could hunt down and prosecute without a second thought. My own sister had forged my signature. Used my credit. Tried to take out a $90,000 loan in my name. For maybe the first time in my career, I felt my professional mask crack. But only for a moment. Because here's what Jessica didn't understand. What she couldn't possibly have known. I wasn't just a victim with limited options and a police report that might go nowhere. I was a federal banking investigator with full access to fraud detection systems, financial crime databases, and legal resources that most people only see in movies. I had the tools. I had the training. I had the authority. And now, I had a target. I need to verify some documents on my end, I told her. My voice was calm. Professional. Exactly what she'd expect from someone confirming their own loan. Can you give me 72 hours? She agreed. Said it was standard procedure anyway. I hung up. Then I opened a new case file on my computer. Not an official one. Not yet. This was personal research. Background investigation. I pulled every record I could access. Jessica's credit history. Her bank statements, the ones she'd authorized when she'd co-signed on our parents' refinancing 2 years ago. Her business accounts. Her social media. Every digital footprint she'd left. It took me 40 minutes to see the whole picture. And when I did, I understood exactly what had happened. Jessica wasn't just stealing from me. She was desperate. And desperate people make mistakes. I leaned back in my chair. The case file on my desk, the credit card fraud ring, suddenly seemed less important. Because I just started the most personal investigation of my career. And this time, I knew exactly how it was going to end. The thing about financial crimes is that people always underestimate the trail they leave behind. They think deleting an email means it's gone. They think using a VPN makes them invisible. They think staying under certain dollar amounts keeps them off the radar. They're wrong on all counts. Jessica's loan application was amateur work. The kind of sloppy execution I see from people who've watched too many true crime documentaries and think they understand how the system works. She'd used my information. But her email address, her phone number, her bank account for the deposit. It was like leaving a business card at a crime scene. I pulled up the signature analysis module. Every bank uses digital signature verification now. The application had my signature, scanned, uploaded, placed perfectly in all the right fields. I compared it to my actual signature in the federal database. 91% match. Good enough to fool automated systems. Not good enough to fool a forensic analysis. She'd traced it. Probably from a birthday card or Christmas letter. The pen pressure was wrong. The flow was mechanical. A computer could miss it. I couldn't. But here's what made me pause. This wasn't her first attempt. I went back further in my credit history. Looking for inquiries. Red flags. Anything unusual. There. 4 months ago. A loan inquiry from Community Trust Bank. Denied. Reason. Insufficient employment verification. 3 months ago. Another inquiry. Regional Credit Union. Denied. Reason, signature mismatch flagged for review. 2 months ago. 2 more attempts. Both denied at different stages of approval. 6 attempts total. Each one slightly better than the last. Each one learning from the previous failure. Jessica had been refining her approach. Testing different banks. Different amounts. Different documentation. This was the first application that actually made it through to approval stage. She was learning. Adapting. Getting better. The loan amount wasn't random either. $89,750. Exactly $250 under the $90,000 threshold that triggers additional federal scrutiny and mandatory investigator review. She'd done research. Real research. Just not enough to know that her target was someone who specialized in catching people exactly like her. I should tell you about Jessica and me. Growing up, we were never close. Not in the way sisters are supposed to be. Jessica was the sun. I was the moon. She was loud, charismatic, magnetic. I was quiet, bookish, forgettable. When she dropped out of college junior year to pursue influencer marketing, my parents called it visionary. When I graduated with honors in financial crime investigation, my mother said, "That's nice, dear," and went back to discussing Jessica's latest Instagram photo shoot. Jessica's wedding 3 years ago cost $82,000. My parents paid for every cent. The venue, the dress, the honeymoon in Bali. I got married at City Hall on a Thursday afternoon. My mother asked if I was pregnant. I wasn't. I just didn't see the point in spending money we didn't have on a party for people who didn't really care. My parents didn't attend. They had a scheduling conflict. Jessica's product launch party. So when I saw my sister trying to steal $90,000 using my identity, I wasn't shocked. I was just tired. Tired of being invisible. Tired of being the responsible one. Tired of watching Jessica take and take and take while everyone smiled and called it ambition. But being tired doesn't make you weak. Sometimes it makes you dangerous. I spent the next 2 days building a case that would make my supervisor proud. Every loan application. Downloaded. Encrypted. Stored in triplicate. Bank security footage. Jessica had actually visited First National in person 2 weeks ago to verify information. Her face was clear in 4 different camera angles. I saved every frame. Email trails. She'd been communicating with the bank using a new email address. But the recovery phone number? Her actual cell phone. The one registered in her name. IP address logs. Every application traced back to either her home network or her phone's mobile data. The digital signature forgeries. I ran them through 3 different analysis programs. Each one flagged them as probable fraud. I documented her financial situation. Credit cards maxed at $42,000. Car payment 3 months behind. Mortgage payment history showing 2 late payments in the last 6 months. Her business accounts. The influencer career she'd been building for 5 years. I pulled her income records. Last paid sponsorship 8 months ago. Amount $1,200. She was drowning. And she decided to use my life raft. The case file was 114 pages when I finished. It was airtight. Federal prosecutor level airtight. I could have ended it right there. Filed a police report. Submitted my evidence. Let the system grind forward while Jessica panicked and hired a lawyer, and my parents begged me to drop the charges. It would have been clean. Professional. By the book. But I didn't want clean. I wanted Jessica to understand what she'd done. Not just legally. Emotionally. So I made a call to First National Bank. "This is Sarah Mitchell," I said. "Regarding the loan application we discussed. I'd like to move forward with approval." The representative sounded pleased. "Wonderful. We can have the funds transferred within 48 hours. I need to amend the deposit account information," I interrupted. "There was an error in the application." Silence. Then, "I'm sorry, what kind of error?" "The account number listed isn't mine. It appears to be fraudulent information. I'd like to update it to my actual account before we proceed." More silence. I could hear her typing. "Ms. Mitchell, I need to escalate this to our fraud department." "I understand," I said calmly. "I work in federal banking oversight. I'll need the name of your fraud department supervisor. And a case number for my records." That triggered the response I wanted. Suddenly, I wasn't just a loan applicant. I was a federal regulator reporting fraud from inside their system. Within 20 minutes, I had a direct line to their security team. Within an hour, they'd frozen the entire application and flagged Jessica's information across their network. Within 3 hours, I had documentation showing that First National had now flagged Jessica for attempted fraud. One bank down. But I wasn't finished. I sent copies of everything to the other 5 banks where Jessica had attempted applications. Not as Sarah Mitchell, the victim. As Sarah Mitchell, Federal Banking Investigator, OCC. By the end of the week, Jessica was flagged in 6 different banking systems. Her social security number. Her email addresses. Her phone number. Her home address. She couldn't open a checking account without triggering alerts now. But she didn't know that yet. I'd also done something else. Something I wasn't entirely proud of, but couldn't bring myself to regret. I'd contacted my parents. Not directly. Through a very carefully worded email to my mother about family dinner. And needing to discuss something important. She'd responded within minutes. Excited. Hopeful. My mother still believed I wanted to reconcile. Bridge the gap. Be a family again. She had no idea what was coming. The dinner was scheduled for Saturday. 6 p.m. My father's birthday. Jessica would be there. She'd never miss a chance to be the center of attention at a family gathering. I had 3 days to prepare. 3 days to decide exactly how I wanted this to end. I sat in my office that night, long after everyone else had gone home. The city lights reflected off my window. My case file sat on the desk in front of me. 114 pages of evidence. 6 years of federal training. And a lifetime of being invisible. I opened my laptop and started typing. Not a police report. An invitation. Because I wasn't just going to expose Jessica. I was going to let her expose herself. Saturday arrived with perfect weather. Sunny. 72 degrees. The kind of day that makes you believe everything will turn out fine. I knew better. I'd spent the morning rehearsing. Not what I'd say. I'd learned a long time ago that scripted confrontations never go as planned. But how I'd stay calm. How I'd control my breathing. How I'd keep my voice level when everything inside me wanted to scream. My father's birthday dinner was at 6. I arrived at 5:45. Early enough to seem eager. Late enough that Jessica would already be there, settled in, comfortable. My mother opened the door with a smile that actually reached her eyes. For the first time in years, she looked genuinely happy to see me. Sarah. You're early. Come in, come in. The house smelled like roast chicken. My father's favorite. The table was set with the good china, the set my grandmother left us. The set that only came out for special occasions. I was apparently special today. Jessica was in the living room. Designer dress. New handbag, I recognized it from her Instagram post 3 days ago. $1,500 retail price. She'd tagged it as a gift from a brand partner. I'd checked. The brand had never heard of her. She looked up when I walked in. That signature smile. The one that had charmed teachers, boyfriends, employers. And our parents for her entire life. Sarah. Oh my God, you actually came. She stood up and hugged me. Tight. Genuine. For a moment, I almost felt guilty. Almost. Wouldn't miss Dad's birthday, I said. She pulled back, studying my face. You look good. Different. Have you been working out? Just working, I said. Still doing the whole Federal Investigator thing? The whole Federal Investigator thing. Like it was a hobby. A phase. Still doing that, I confirmed. Dinner started the way these things always did. My father talked about golf. His handicap had improved. He'd nearly won the club tournament. My mother talked about the garden. The roses were doing well this year. Better than last year. Jessica talked about herself. A new collaboration in the works. A podcast interview she'd recorded. Follower count hitting 50,000. I'd checked that too. She'd bought 30,000 of those followers. The engagement rate was abysmal. Nobody asked about my work. Nobody ever did. I ate my chicken. Sipped my wine. Watched Jessica perform. She was good at this. Always had been. Holding court. Making every story sound important. Every achievement sound monumental. Oh, and I'm planning this amazing trip, Jessica said, eyes bright. Thailand. I've always wanted to go. I found this incredible deal. Sounds expensive, I said quietly. She waved her hand. Oh, you know. I've been saving up. Sponsorships have been really good lately. Lie. Plus, she continued, I've got this great financial planner now. Really helping me manage everything. Build credit. Maximize opportunities. Another lie. My mother beamed. See, Sarah? Jessica's got it all figured out. You worry too much about money. I took another sip of wine. My phone was in my pocket. I'd set 3 alarms. One for 7 p.m. One for 7:15. One for 7:30. Backup plans for backup plans. That's how you build a case that doesn't fall apart. At 7:03, Jessica's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Her smile flickered. Just for a second. But I saw it. Everything okay? My mother asked. Fine, Jessica said quickly. Just work thing. I'll check it later. She put her phone face down on the table. It buzzed again 30 seconds later. Then again. Jessica's hand moved toward it. Stopped. Moved away. My father was cutting his birthday cake. My mother was taking photos. Nobody noticed Jessica's jaw tightening. Nobody but me. At 7:15, my phone buzzed. I pulled it out slowly. Looked at the screen. Email notification. First National Bank. Subject line, loan application status update, urgent. I didn't open it. I just let the notification sit there on my lock screen. Then I slid my phone across the table. Toward Jessica. Interesting, I said softly. I got an email from First National Bank. The room went quiet. Jessica stared at the phone. Then at me. I don't. About a loan application, I continued. My voice was calm. Professional. The same tone I used in federal depositions. $489,750. My mother's fork stopped halfway to her mouth. Sarah, what are you talking about? I didn't look at her. I kept my eyes on Jessica. There's a loan application in my name. Filed 3 weeks ago. Using my social security number. My address. My employment information. My credit history. Jessica's face was white. Actually white. But here's the strange part, I continued. I never applied for this loan. Sarah, my father started. The application was submitted from an IP address in Westbrook, I said. Specifically from 847 Maple Drive. I looked at Jessica. That's your address, isn't it? She opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe someone hacked. I pulled the security footage, I said quietly. From First National Bank. You visited the branch 2 weeks ago. To verify information for the loan. You spoke with a representative named Rachel for 17 minutes. My mother stood up. Sarah, this is insane. Why would Jessica? Because she's $42,000 in debt, I said. Credit cards maxed. Car payment 3 months behind. And her influencer career hasn't generated real income in 8 months. The silence was deafening. I pulled a folder from my bag. Inside were printouts. Bank statements. Credit reports. Loan applications. Security camera screenshots. I placed them on the table. One by one. This is the first application, I said, pointing. 4 months ago. Denied. Insufficient verification. Second application. 3 months ago. Denied. Signature mismatch. Third, fourth, fifth applications. All denied at various stages. I placed the final document down. 6th application. 3 weeks ago. First National Bank. This one was approved. My father picked up one of the documents. His hands were shaking. Jessica was shaking too. Actually trembling. You don't understand, she whispered. I was going to pay it back. I just needed. You forged my signature, I said. You stole my identity. You committed federal fraud. Sarah, please, my mother's voice broke. She's your sister. Can't you just talk to the bank? Fix this quietly? It's family. And there it was. The same pattern. The same excuse. The same protection that had enabled Jessica her entire life. Family. No, I said simply. Jessica's eyes went wide. What do you mean, no? I pulled out one more document. Official letterhead. Federal seal at the top. I filed a formal complaint. With the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency on Thursday, I said. Case number 2024, FTC 4782. Identity theft. Loan fraud. Wire fraud for the electronic applications. The room temperature dropped. My mother actually gasped. These are federal charges, I continued. Not civil. Criminal. The FBI's Financial Crimes Unit will be contacting you within 72 hours. You're lying, Jessica whispered. You're bluffing. You wouldn't. I'm a federal banking investigator, I said. My voice was steady. Cold. This is what I do. Every single day. I build cases against people who commit financial crimes. I stood up. The difference is, this time I didn't have to build anything. You did all the work for me. Jessica collapsed into her chair. Hands over her face. Shoulders shaking. My mother was crying. My father sat frozen, documents spread in front of him. I picked up my bag. I've spent my entire life being invisible in this family, I said quietly. Being the boring daughter. The one who didn't matter. The one who stayed quiet and cleaned up messes and never caused problems. I looked at each of them. I'm done staying quiet. I walked to the door. My mother's voice followed me. Sarah, please. Please don't do this. She made a mistake. We can fix this. I stopped. Turned back. She didn't make a mistake, Mom. She made a choice. 6 different choices, actually. And each time she failed, she tried again. Better. Smarter. More careful. I looked at Jessica, still collapsed in her chair. This wasn't desperation. This was calculation. And I'm not going to let it slide just because we share DNA. I left. Behind me, I heard my mother crying. My father's voice, low and shocked. And Jessica's silence. The loudest sound of all. The next 72 hours were chaos. Not for me. My life continued exactly as it had before. Wake up. Coffee. Review case files. Build evidence. Go home. But for Jessica? Everything fell apart. Monday morning, the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit made contact. Not a phone call. An actual visit. 2 agents in dark suits showing up at her door at 8 a.m. I know because my mother called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer. She left voicemails. Each one more desperate than the last. Sarah, please pick up. They took Jessica's computer. They're asking about bank records. Please call me back. Sarah, your father's beside himself. Jessica's lawyer says this is serious. Federal charges. Please, we need to talk. Sarah, I'm begging you. She's your sister. Whatever happened to forgiveness? To family? I deleted each voicemail after listening to it once. Documentation. In case I needed it later. Tuesday, Jessica hired a lawyer. Marcus Chen. One of the best criminal defense attorneys in the state. Expensive. The kind of expensive. That meant my parents were draining their retirement account. He called me Wednesday afternoon. Ms. Mitchell, this is Marcus Chen representing Jessica Reeves. I'd like to discuss a possible resolution to this situation. There's nothing to discuss, I said. The evidence has been submitted to federal prosecutors. This is out of my hands. Ms. Mitchell, I understand you're upset. But surely we can reach some kind of agreement. Family mediation. Restitution. My client is willing to. Your client committed 6 counts of attempted identity theft and 1 count of successful loan fraud, I interrupted. She forged federal documents. She violated the Identity Theft and Assumption Deterrence Act. These aren't negotiable offenses. Silence on the line. Then, I've reviewed the case file you submitted. It's comprehensive. I know. You're a federal investigator. I know that too. Ms. Mitchell, I'll be honest. This case is airtight. If this goes to trial, your sister will lose. The best outcome we can hope for is a plea deal. Then I suggest you start negotiating one, I said. I hung up. By Thursday, the loan application was officially terminated. First National Bank sent Jessica a formal denial letter citing fraud investigation. But it didn't stop there. Banks talk to each other. Especially when federal investigators get involved. The 5 other banks where Jessica had attempted applications all flagged her information. Her social security number was marked in the check systems database, the banking industry's shared fraud prevention network. She couldn't open a checking account. Couldn't apply for credit cards. Couldn't even cash a check at most institutions. Her car loan company received notification of the federal investigation. They reviewed her payment history, 3 months behind, and initiated repossession proceedings. Her car was gone by Friday morning. I know because my mother called again. I didn't answer, but she left a voicemail. Her voice was different this time. Not desperate. Angry. Sarah, they took Jessica's car. She can't get to work. She can't do anything. Are you happy now? Is this what you wanted? To destroy your own sister? I saved the voicemail. Then I went back to work. Jessica had to move back in with our parents. She had no choice. She couldn't make her mortgage payment. Her credit was destroyed. Her bank accounts were frozen pending investigation. Everything she'd built, or pretended to build, was gone. My father called me on Saturday. The first time he'd called in 3 years. Sarah. Dad. I need you to explain something to me. I waited. Why are you doing this? She's family. She made a mistake, yes, but this is destroying her life. She tried to destroy mine, I said quietly. That's different. How is it different? Silence. Dad, if Jessica had succeeded, I would have $90,000 of debt I didn't create. My credit score would have been ruined. I could have lost my security clearance, my job, my entire career. But she didn't succeed. Because I caught her, I said. Not because she had a crisis of conscience. Not because she decided it was wrong. She only stopped because she got caught. Sarah, please. Your mother is devastated. Jessica is. She's not handling this well. And how did you think I'd handle having my identity stolen? More silence. I checked your bank records, I said. My voice was calm. Professional. With proper authorization, of course. Jessica used Mom's credit card without permission in 2019. $1,700. You paid it off and told Mom it was a misunderstanding. I heard him breathing on the other end. She borrowed $5,000 from Aunt Marie in 2021, promised to pay it back in 6 months. She never did. You smoothed it over. Sent Aunt Marie the money yourself. How did you? I'm a federal investigator, Dad. This is what I do. Those were different. No, I interrupted. They weren't. You've been enabling her for years. Protecting her from consequences. Teaching her that she can take whatever she wants. And someone will always clean up the mess. She's your sister. And I'm your daughter, I said quietly. But you've never protected me. Never defended me. Never once asked if I was okay. He didn't respond. You're angry because I won't protect her either, I continued. You're upset because for the first time in her life, Jessica has to face actual consequences. And there's no one to save her. Sarah. I have to go, Dad. I have work tomorrow. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Just slightly. I made tea. Sat on my couch. Stared at the wall. And felt absolutely nothing. 3 weeks after the dinner, Marcus Chin called again. We're negotiating a plea deal with the federal prosecutor's office. I assumed you would be. My client is willing to plead guilty to 1 count of identity theft. In exchange for probation, restitution, and community service. What about prison time? The prosecutor is willing to recommend no jail time. Given that this is a first offense and the loan was never actually disbursed. I thought about that. Jessica would walk away. Probation. A fine she couldn't afford. Community service. No prison. Part of me wanted to fight it. Push for the maximum sentence. Make her understand the full weight of what she'd done. But another part of me, the part that was just tired, knew the truth. This wasn't about punishment. It was about boundaries. What's the restitution amount? I asked. $15,000. Paid directly to you for credit monitoring, legal fees, and damages. And the probation terms? 3 years. Regular check-ins with a probation officer. She'll be entered into the federal fraud registry. She won't be able to take out loans, open credit accounts, or pass background checks for financial positions. Essentially, her credit life was over. Fine, I said. Ms. Mitchell, I want you to know. My client is genuinely remorseful. No, she's not, I interrupted. She's sorry she got caught. There's a difference. I hung up before he could respond. The plea deal went through 2 weeks later. Jessica Reeves. Guilty. Identity theft. Federal offense. 3 years probation. $15,000 restitution. 200 hours community service. Permanent mark on her record. I didn't attend the hearing. I didn't need to. The case was closed. 6 months after the plea deal, I got promoted. Senior investigator. My own team. Cases involving international fraud rings. Multi-million-dollar schemes. Cryptocurrency laundering operations. The kind of work that matters. The kind that makes a difference. My supervisor called me into his office the day the promotion was announced. Mitchell, you've been one of our most effective investigators for years. But something changed about 6 months ago. Your case closure rate increased. Your documentation became even more meticulous. What happened? I thought about how to answer that. I stopped letting things slide, I said finally. He nodded. Like he understood something I hadn't said. Well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. You're setting the standard for the entire department. I left his office with a new title, a raise. And a caseload that would consume the next year of my life. I was fine with that. Work had always been the place where I mattered. Where I was seen. Where my skills meant something. Now it was just, more so. My mother started texting me around month 4. Not calls anymore. She'd learned I wouldn't answer those. Short messages. Careful. Like she was testing the ice on a frozen lake. Thinking of you. Hope work is going well. Your father asks about you. I responded. Eventually. Days later. I'm fine. Work is good. Tell him I said hi. Polite. Distant. The kind of responses you give to acquaintances, not family. She never mentioned Jessica in those texts. Not directly. But in month 5, she sent a longer message. Jessica is doing better. She's working retail at Morrison's. Living at home. Trying to rebuild. She asks about you sometimes. Wonders if you're okay. I know things are complicated, Sarah. But she's still your sister. And we're still your family. When you're ready to talk, we're here. I read that message 3 times. Then I put my phone down and went back to work. I wasn't ready to talk. I didn't know if I ever would be. I ran into Jessica at the grocery store on a Sunday afternoon in month 7. Pure coincidence. I was picking up coffee. She was working. Cashier. Name tag. Blue vest. The kind of job she would have made fun of 3 years ago. She saw me before I saw her. I watched the recognition hit. The way her shoulders tensed. The way her hand froze on the scanner. For a moment, I considered turning around. Finding another checkout line. Avoiding this entirely. But I didn't. I walked up to her register. Put my coffee on the counter. Hi, Sarah, she said quietly. Hi. Her hands shook slightly as she scanned the coffee. She looked different. Thinner. Older. The confidence that used to radiate from her was gone. That'll be $4.57, she said. I handed her a $5 bill. She made change. Held it out. Our eyes met. I'm sorry, she said. So quietly I almost didn't hear it. I know it doesn't matter now. I know it doesn't fix anything. But I'm sorry. For what I did. For what I tried to do. I took the change. Are you? I asked. She nodded. Every day. I think about it every single day. I believed her. Strangely enough. I lost everything, she continued. Her voice was barely a whisper. The house. The car. The career. My credits destroyed. I can't get approved for anything. I'm 32 years old living with our parents working retail and I. She stopped. Swallowed hard. I did this to myself. I know that. You didn't ruin my life, Sarah. I did. I want you to know I understand that now. I picked up my coffee. Okay, I said. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I started to walk away. Sarah. I turned back. Do you think, someday, we could talk? Really talk? I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was broken. Genuinely broken. Part of me felt satisfaction at that. The part that had been invisible for so long. The part that had always come second. But another part, a smaller, quieter part, just felt sad. Maybe, I said. Someday. Not today. But someday? Maybe. I left. In my car, I sat for a long moment before starting the engine. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel angry. I just felt tired. But different tired. Not the exhausted, invisible tired from before. Just done. It's been 8 months now. I'm good at my job. Really good. My team closed 14 major cases last quarter. We're tracking a cryptocurrency fraud operation across 5 countries. It's complex, challenging, meaningful work. I come home to my apartment. Small. Clean. Quiet. Sometimes my mother texts. I respond. Briefly. Cordially. My father called once last month. We talked for 7 minutes about nothing important. It was awkward but not hostile. Progress, I suppose. Jessica is still working at Morrison's. Still living at home. I don't follow her social media. I don't check on her. I don't think about her much at all. She's paying back the restitution. $50 a month. It'll take her 25 years at that rate. I don't need the money. But I haven't told her to stop. Some things need to be finished properly. People ask me sometimes, colleagues who know the story. Friends who've heard pieces of it, if I regret what I did. If I regret turning in my own sister. I don't. Because here's what I learned through all of this. Family isn't permission to destroy someone. Love isn't an excuse to enable harmful behavior. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do, for yourself and for them, is to let people face the consequences of their own choices. Jessica used my identity to try to steal $90,000. She didn't know I was a federal banking investigator. But more than that, she didn't know I was done being invisible. Done being the daughter who didn't matter. Done staying quiet while everyone around me took and took and took. I didn't ruin her life. She did that herself the moment she decided my life was worth less than her comfort. I just made sure she couldn't do it again. Not to me. Not to anyone. And honestly, I sleep better now than I have in years. My apartment is quiet. My work is meaningful. My boundaries are clear. I'm not invisible anymore. I'm not the forgotten daughter. I'm Senior Investigator Sarah Mitchell. I hunt financial criminals for a living. And I'm very, very good at my job. Even when the criminal is someone I used to share a bedroom with. Maybe especially then. Because justice doesn't stop at the family dinner table. It shouldn't. And I finally understand that I'm worth protecting. Even if I'm the only one who will do it.
Are you ready?